Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing well. So in this video we are going to fix this faulty Xbox One controller which has an issue with the D-pad and the joysticks. So on this controller what the issue is on the D-pad it does like a double click, so you just click the once and the actual icon moves along twice. If you're selecting, typing on the keyboard, on the on-screen keyboard, it jumps down twice or jumps to the right twice, which is quite annoying just when you click once. And this right-hand stick is actually drifting. So when it's in the center, whatever game you're playing or the actual pointer will move slightly on its own. It will move up as if you're holding the joystick up a bit when you're not. So what we're going to do, we are going to open it up and show you how to open it up. Underneath the D-pad there's 4 pressure sensors, so we're going to replace them. And then we've actually got some spare stick controllers which we bought from eBay, which are here, and we're going to replace them as well. So let's open it up and see what we've got. So I know there's a number of screws. First one is actually behind the battery pack. There's a label, and through that label you can actually put your finger there, you can feel it. There's a screw hole here, and there's a couple of screws either side behind the grips. Now to get these grips off you need a pry tool. You kind of just squeeze it in between where the join is, give it a bit of a wiggle. It should start to come off, just like that. Follow it round. It'll go all the way around, and eventually you should be able to just pop it off. Like so. It's one side, and again, get the pry tool in there, start popping it off. The other side pops off. I mean, you have to be careful. There's these small little plastic parts which will snap off quite easily. And then you can see there's one torque screw there, another one down there, same on the other side, and as I say there's one behind this label here. So let's get those torque screws out. Now I believe the front panel then lifts off. And there we go. Now just below there is the pads that I spoke about. Down here in the grips is the vibrations, the little motors that give the vibration effect. And these just pop off, you just lift them up and they just pop off. And now you can see the parts that we are going to be replacing. When you've actually got the caps off, the joysticks do just stay in the one position, but don't worry about that, that's normal. And then we simply lift out the whole controller. That's just the rear casing. And there we have it. So obviously battery connectors there, cables to the motors. Now I believe these lift out as well. Yeah, they do. A little bit of tape. Now what I've seen most people do is actually unsolder the motors, because otherwise they're dangling around and they're going to fall off anyhow. So I'll just leave mine on for now. Pull those out to one side, and just here we've got the little aerial for the Bluetooth connectivity. So let's just pop that off quickly. Okay, so flat blade screwdriver, just pop that off. Now we can remove this top board. So there's One screw there, one screw there. I think that's all that's holding it. This looks like to be a smaller torque, so let's just see what one that is. So torque 6. I think I will probably end up unsoldering these motor cables. Let's see how we get on for now. So one screw either side. In fact, let's undo these two here as well. Same size screws, and again torque 6. On the left hand side, just pull that off. Yeah, I'm going to have to end up unsoldering, I think. And there we are, through to the joysticks that we've got to change. So I'll quickly unsolder these cables just so we can get to this board a little bit easier, because we are going to need to actually unsolder all of this to get the new joysticks in. Okay, now we can take this board out completely. Just move, let's leave that tape there. Right. Now some people actually do repair these. You can pop off these side caps, yeah, and clean up the actual contacts inside, but you know, I just want to be a bit different, and I will replace them completely. Just looking at our replacement ones, let's just make sure they are correct. Yep. Yep. Good. Check the pinouts are the same. 2, 3, 4. Yep, good. Okay, so I'm going to get to work unsoldering here, unsoldering here. I'll add a little bit of leaded solder to it first of all, so it comes off a little bit easier. Let's see how we get on. A little bit of flux to each part. Let's try zooming in a bit for you. Okay, so just add a little bit of flux to each pin. There we go. So that took a little bit more coaxing than I would have liked, but anyhow, it's off now. Right, so we'll pop on the replacement. Make sure it's seated nicely. Now this pad over here, I have damaged it a little bit, but I can bridge the track just. So let's pop on a bit more flux. Let's get this one soldered in. Right, that looks to be soldered back on. Now I did damage, you probably can't see it on the camera, a few of the pads as I was taking the 41 off. Now what I think's happened is because I used this solder sucker, it's actually, when they suck the solder away, it's actually sucked the pad as well. So I suppose one of my tips is don't use one of the solder suckers. Instead use you know, some solder remove braid instead to get the old one off. Otherwise you just end up ruining the pads on the PCB itself. They all look like a good enough joint. I've had to bridge them a little bit to the actual contact on the PCB where the actual pad is lifted. So I made a little bridge where it should be connected, and that looks okay. So top tip, don't use a solder sucker. It's nice and secure now. So let's get it back, put it back together, and we'll do a quick test and see if that's resolved the problem for the left thumbstick. Sorry, for the right thumbstick. It might have also fixed the problem for the D-pad as well, because I noticed there were a couple of like solder breaches as well. So I don't know if that would have made any difference to the D-pad, but let's get it put back together and we'll do a quick test. Good, back on. They just pop back in there. It's just give them a bit of a fold over so they don't snag on the case. Let's get these other screws back in. There's actually no need to take these ones out in the end, so I didn't actually remove the other PCB. The antenna back on. It just pops back on. And then hopefully we can just drop it back into the case. Now, obviously there's the battery connectors there, which you've got to feed through there. So make sure they're nice and aligned. Just drop it in. That's the replacements one. I do wonder if there was some connection between this thumbstick and this D-pad, because this D-pad was like double clicking as well, if that makes sense, as well as the actual thumbstick. So we'll see, we'll get it tested. And see where that takes us. Okay, all the buttons are good. So let's get these popped on again. So okay, case back on again. And then pop the screws back in. I think we'll go with the one in the centre first of all. Right, so that's holding it temporarily. I will go and give this a quick test now. Just zoom back out again. So I'll make sure I go and give this a good test and see where we are. So that has actually fixed it. So the D-pad now doesn't double click. This isn't double clicking, the buttons work. So good, so it was actually that thumbstick or joystick that needed to be replaced. And obviously the 41 was causing the issues. So as I said in other videos, you know, this is the 41 that came off. I have actually seen videos where you pop off this side piece here and then you give it the contacts underneath a good clean, which seems to have fixed it. But I think for this actual one, because I was concerned about the D-pad, I think it's best to just replace this altogether. There are some contacts under here, like little metal contacts, which can be replaced with essentially one of these. So you see these little metal contacts, they're actual switches. It's just kind of a circle sticker, and there's underneath the switch and the PCB, there's another sticker there. You just peel that one off, pop that one back on, and it replaces it, especially if these contacts have got dirty. However, I didn't need to do that in the end. As I say, after testing, it works fine. So yeah, if I do ever have to replace some of the contacts for the D-pads, I'll post another video. But for now, that seems to have got it working. So let's just pop it back together. Pop back on. Side grips. They literally just pop back on. And obviously, once you put your batteries in there, you can put your battery cover back on. Done. So thanks very much for watching the video. Really appreciate your view. Please consider subscribing to the channel and give us a thumbs up. That's always very much appreciated. If you are into your Xboxes, don't forget to watch our video where we are giving away a Xbox One S. I will put a link in the description below and also come up as a card in a minute at the end of the video. So you just watch that video, simply subscribe to the channel and post a comment in the comments section of that video, and you'll be entered into the free prize draw to win an Xbox completely free. So as I say, thanks very much for watching. Appreciate your view. Take care. See you all.